Hi everybody, how are you all doing? Does it look like Groundhog Day? Did you see the video a couple of days ago of the leek fennel potato soup? Well, for me it's the same day, I'm just getting on with another soup, but I'm going to film it and share it with you after the police car's gone past. What's that Morecambe and Wise joke? You won't sell many ice creams going that fast, mate. Should we carry on? Yeah, let's carry on. So some of you will have seen this recipe before. I did it for Sean's channel a couple of years ago, but I think it's well worth repeating because I know there are some of you who won't have seen it there. This is my carrot, lentil and celery soup. I love it! I absolutely love it. It's one of my absolute go-to recipes. I mean, I love everything I cook. That makes me sound really arrogant, doesn't it? I love everything I cook. I'm the new Nigella. Nah, no way. I just really enjoy getting the veg out of the garden and I just like the taste of all the different veggies. And I think one of the reasons I kind of keep things so simple is so I can taste those individual veggies. Yum, yum, yum. Now before I give you a run through the ingredients, I'm going to show you the carrot. So one of the reasons I'm doing this today is because I pulled some carrots out yesterday. Well, I started to pull some and then I pulled one and I didn't need to pull any more because look at the size of it, that's half of it. Look at it, it's as big as my head. I mean, it was up to there, it was crazy big. Some people speculated that it might have been 3 or 4 carrots that hadn't thinned and they'd merged together somehow. Never known that happen, but it's not, it's got one core. So there is quite a big core in it, so that's going to be a little bit woody, and for eating raw sort of crudités I probably wouldn't bother, but in the soup, because I've actually nicked a bit off it already to taste, and the flavour is so good. And actually once it's all blended in this soup, that woodiness will just disappear anyway. So don't grab your veg out of the sword and think, ooh, it's ugly and gnarly and monstrous, I'm going to chuck it. Don't be doing that. So let me give you a proper look at the rest of the ingredients. As always, super simple. So got this humongous carrot. I would say otherwise, you see where I've had a bit, I would say otherwise sort of 3 or 4 decent sized carrots, an onion and its best friend the garlic, like all my soups. This is, it's about 200 grams of red lentils, or it's probably about a cup and a half's worth. And then I've just grabbed, sort of 3 or 4 sticks of celery. Keep your leaves on. I love the leaves. There's loads of nutrition in that, and also it's adding a bit of green to the soup too, so don't chuck your leaves away. And you know, growing your own is just so wonderful because you get the leaves, you know, if you buy it in the supermarket you get those nasty anemic skinny white stalks of bleh. When you grow your own, you get the leaves as well, and that beautiful vivid green. And then I will do a litre of stock to get them all in. Right, so I need to get chopping up that big boy carrot, don't I? I'll be back in a week to show you. So I've made a start already by just popping the onions and garlic in for 10 minutes to just sweat down a bit. Where's my spatula? There we go. So they're nicely softened now. And this is such a lovely easy recipe because then it's literally everything else goes in. And we put the lid back on. So lentils, I should just say with the lentils, give them a wash before you use them because they get quite dusty and gritty. So just put them in a sieve or something with fine mesh and run them under the tap for a couple of minutes. Don't chuck the water away, don't waste water. Use it to water your house plants with or some such. Look at that colour, isn't it gorgeous? Right, carrots and celery. Oh, try not to drop it all, Vivi. To me, there's something about the colour of veggies as well that it's sort of saying to me, I'm really good. I'm going to be really, really good for you. Eat me, eat me, eat me. Oh, just beautiful. And then, whoops, sorry, I knocked it, didn't I? Last but not least, wash my lentils off there. A litre of stock goes in. Actually, I made that stock a few minutes ago, so I'm just going to pop the heat back up just to bring it back to a simmer, and then leave it for 15 minutes to simmer, and then we can whiz it. But just look at those colours, aren't they gorgeous? And the smells coming off already are so yum, yum, yum. But we say bye-bye for now. We'll come back and have a look at you in 15 minutes. They've bubbled away for 15, maybe 17 minutes, and they're looking perfect to be blended. I just want to say a quick note. I should have said it at the beginning, but I forgot to. With things like carrots, where you've got water-soluble vitamins, like vitamin A, vitamin C, when you're preparing them, just give them the quickest wash scrub that you can to get the soil off. I don't peel mine, loads of the goodness in the skin. So the quickest possible scrub. Whatever you do, don't leave your carrots or such like standing in a pan of water on the back of the stove waiting to be cooked. Because by the time you come to cook it, all those gorgeous vitamins will have been leached out into the water, and then when you strain them and chuck the water down the drain, you've just chucked all your gorgeous vitamins down the drain. Right, enough of that. It's time to get whizzing and zizzing. I mean, you can probably see just from this how thick it is with the lentils. Oh, gorgeous. Right, let's get a wriggle on. Oh, how good does this look? Oh my giddy goodness. And look how gorgeous and thick that is. Oh, isn't that just happiness on a winter's day? Right, enough of the hubble bubble. I need to plate up. I'm ready for my fluff moment. It's always the best bit. Oh. It's just delicious. There's that lovely kind of zingy freshness from the celery, that lovely kind of warmth from the lentils, and a little pop of the carrots. It's gorgeous. And the thing, I was going to wax lyrical. I'm not going to. I'm going to see if I can hold this up for you to see without spilling it. But just look at it. Isn't that... Do you want to put your face in it? You're not going to, because I'm going to put mine in it. I need to go and scoff this now, so I shall say cheerio. Happy soup making, happy whatever it is you're making from the garden. Just go out to the garden, grab some veggies, bring them home, give them a quick scrub, chuck them in a pan, and get them down your face. I'll see you all again really soon, I hope. Take care. Well, I'm back. I just wanted to add this little postscript. Just a little word on freezing, defrosting, freezing again, that sort of stuff. So quite often I will freeze my veg. I will, take stuff out of the garden. So for instance, the green beans that were felled by the winds that I would normally want to dry, they were felled by the winds. I couldn't possibly eat that many beans in one go, so I froze them. Now, if I was to take those beans out of the freezer, and generally to defrost things, if I'm going to cook with them, I'll take them out of the freezer, pop them in the fridge and let them gently defrost overnight, and then cook with them first thing in the morning, or take them out of the freezer in the morning, defrost them in the fridge during the day and then cook with them in the evening. If I took those beans out of the freezer, defrosted them in the fridge and suddenly thought, oh, I've got no time for cooking, I'm not going to put them back in the freezer. Do not put them back in the freezer. However, what you can do, which is what I've done with, say, the fennel in the previous video, is take them out of the freezer to defrost them a little bit, cook them into something else. So once I've cooked them and they're now part of a soup or whatever it is, now I can put them back into the freezer because I've cooked them. That's the main thing. But also, just sort of as a general practice for sort of freezer hygiene, safety, whatever you want to call it, once I've made all my soups, I let them cool considerably, then I chill them, and then they go to the freezer. So to cool them, very simply at this time of year, I put them outside on my windowsill because it is so chilly at the moment. Also, once they're divided into smaller portions, bigger surface area than being in one big pot, they'll cool much more quickly. So they go out on the windowsill in their individual pots, and hopefully there are no magpies flying past who fancy my soup. Give them about an hour or so out there, then I put them into the fridge to cool them down even further. I don't want to put warm or even hot soup into the fridge because that's going to obviously heat the fridge up, so everything else that's in there, and I certainly don't want to put warm food into the freezer. So they've been on the windowsill, they come into the fridge, and then after they've had a really good cool down in the fridge, they then go to the freezer. And most freezers, actually I don't know about chest freezers because I don't use one, I'm talking about the larder freezers. Check your manual because most freezers will have a shelf specifically for freezing something that's not yet frozen. So if you're buying frozen food from the shops, they go anywhere. But if you're putting in a chilled food that hasn't quite frozen, so in my freezer for instance, it's the top shelf. So I always put my unfrozen stuff in the top shelf, and once it's thoroughly frozen, I can rearrange it and get it into all the other shelves. I'm really sorry if this seems like teaching your mother to suck lemons. What is that phrase? I think that is, isn't it? Teaching your granny to suck eggs, or your mother. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, for a load of you, I know that this will be absolute common sense, or not even common sense, but just something that you've learned from either your mom or your nan or your dad or your uncle, whatever. But I do get loads of questions about freezing and defrosting and freezing again, so I hope that clarifies. So right now, all my gorgeous carrot and celery soup is, or the corner I can see it, is out there on the windowsill. Another half an hour, it'll go in the fridge, a few hours in the fridge, a couple of hours, before I go to bed basically tonight, out of the fridge and into the non-frozen top shelf of the freezer, and then tomorrow morning I can shovel things around again and put them into their more permanent home. Well, permanent maybe for a few weeks, permanent home. So I hope that helps to clarify things for those of you who've been wondering. And now I really am going to go. I'm going to have another bowl of soup because it was so yummy. So until the next time, happy soup making, happy just getting cozy because we are getting a bit wintry now, aren't we? I'll see you all again really soon, I hope. But in the meantime, take care.